Okay, we'd like to bring this meeting to order. Mr. Crotty, would you do roll call, please?
Yeah.
Mr. Accomando?
Present.
Ms. Morale?
Present.
Ms. Ainello?
Here.
Ms. Mahoney?
Here.
Mr. Quinn?
Here.
Ms. Robinson?
Here.
Ms. Roloff? Ms. Torbic?
Here.
Ms. Zottarelli?
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the
flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been sent to all members of the Board of Education and to the Bergen Record in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, 1975. At this time, please advise that all cell phones and electronic devices are to be turned off. We will start with the superintendent's report.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to save my formal report for Wednesday evening.
Okay, thank you.
Saving the report for Wednesday evening for the regular session.
Mr. Crotty?
Okay, just a brief recap on projects I'm going to hand out. For the Energy Savings Improvement Program, here's a spreadsheet, an update as of today. You don't have to read this all now, but you could look it over your perusal, and there's 18 energy conservation measures, and all but 3 are completed, and of those 3, they're pretty well along in the stages of being completed. The solar panels, the ventilation improvements at the high school with the air conditioning, and the building automation controls. So we're moving along. We hope to have most of them done before or by the summer. Project-wise, in the funds that were budgeted during this school year, projects that moved along were the Franklin storage room conversion to 2 small group instruction rooms, replaced doors at the high school. Some security items that were in the general budget were to install more rolling gates here that are going to be completed over the summer. We had some additional cameras installed, and we're obtaining proposals on wireless door locks. For the question that was approved in November, the $450,000 security question, security vestibule bid was awarded, and the contractors will be doing that work over the summer. We approved a lockdown emergency notification system, and that work began at 2 of the schools this week, and they expect that to be completed and up and running even before students and staff leave for the summer. And we're in the process of looking at some supplies and 2-way radios, hopefully approved at the June meeting. And that concludes my report.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Crotty. We'll now look at the agenda items for board discussion. First up is the review of the tentative agenda for regular meetings to be held. I just have one question on it. I don't know if it really makes a difference, but the August meeting is scheduled for a Monday instead of a Wednesday. I didn't know. It's Monday, August 19th.
The meeting schedule, we're going to go over more in closed session.
Okay.
Our attorney has some items she'd like to inform the board. Is that okay?
Yep.
Through the chair, where's the information you're talking about now?
Excuse
You're
me?
reading from just this little piece of paper?
No, that was part of the agenda that was sent to us.
We have a larger one there. One says May 8th.
Oh, it says May 8th. It doesn't say May 6th.
That's the draft agenda for May 8th.
Reviewing Wednesday night's action items.
I have no clue, yeah.
Okay, do we, Okay, we'll move to board action items, B30, B31. Is there any questions, comments?
Rule 31 will be discussed and closed.
Chair. 29, table
After I meet with the board tonight and close, we'll discuss that further, so for right now, it's tabled.
Seeing no discussion. Go into education curriculum. Ms. Torbeck?
Just like open it up if anybody has any questions regarding any of the items.
Seeing none, we'll move on to finance, budget, facilities. Ms. Robertson?
Does anybody have any questions on any of those items? I think Ray went over some of them.
On the workshops, F119, we have to add Mrs. Ianello for a workshop on May 14th, and I have to fill in my cost for my workshop. That'll be adjusted on tomorrow, before you get the agenda.
Thank you. Anything else? Okay, moving right along.
Chair. Under F125, that's to approve them just advertise.
That's where the district places all their advertisements for staffing and like we do bids and projects,
But
yeah.
it's not for anyone to run the report or review.
No, just for, that's where we approve all our documents.
Any-
And it's also so that when we are required to give public notice, they know that this is the newspaper we use, and they know to look in this paper. No, but it doesn't mean you have to at least use this paper.
Okay.
You can use additional ones, but you have to at least use this paper.
Okay.
Any other questions? Do we have anything from policy, Ms. Mahoney?
Nope, no policies this month.
Any updates on negotiations, Ms. Zararelli?
We have, we finally have a draft contract to get back to the union. So that should be this week. And then if there's any changes, we can discuss it, but we should have something so we can get it ratified and then approved next week. I mean, not Wednesday. The meeting next week.
Thank you. Personnel, Mr.
No,
Nakamoto?
that's cool.
Oh, that's all closed, sorry. That'll be Wednesday night. So, moving right along to, any additional committee reports?
Through the chair, the Budget Finance Facilities Committee met on May 1st. We went over the agenda items, the board schedule that we're going to talk about later on, approval of professionals for the cafeteria. The cold display cases were installed in the middle school, high school. Waffle promotion days at the elementary schools was received very well. And for next year, they're looking into additional promotion days like pasta and animal fruit and things like that for the students. And we reviewed the budget and the tax impact, and we discussed the separate question that was then presented later on that evening, so, okay?
Thank you.
Any questions, anybody?
Anybody have any liaison reports or updates? Okay, correspondence? Old business? New business?
Through the chair, if I could, I just want to say, I went to the food festival on Friday, and everyone involved did a great job. And I got to put out a thank you to Officer Littlejohn for helping me pick up the woman who fell and hurt her leg. But you guys did a great job. It was fantastic. Thank you again for all you guys do.
Thank you very much. Any other new business? Okay, a motion to open the meeting to the public for comments?
Motion.
So moved. Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. I'm assuming by the size of the crowd, there are some people that would like to speak. 1 second, I have to read along. Residents are required to state their names, addresses, and subject matter. In the event it appears the public comment portion of the meeting may exceed 45 minutes, the presiding officer may limit each statement made by the participants to 5 minutes duration. Issues raised by members of the public may or may not be responded to by the board. All comments will be considered, and a response will be forthcoming if and when appropriate. The board asks that members of the public be courteous and mindful of the rights of other individuals when speaking. Specifically, comments regarding students and employees of the board are discouraged and will not be responded to by the board. Students and employees have specific legal rights afforded by the laws of New Jersey. The board bears no responsibility, nor will it be liable for any comments made by members of the public. Members of the public should consider their comments in light of the legal rights of those affected or identified in their comments, and be aware that they are legally responsible and liable for their comments.
Good evening. William Mulder, my son's a senior. I just have more of a comment, not looking for an answer. For some reason, this year, we're not going to, from what I heard, we're not going to the teen arts display or competition at Bergen Community College. That's something that, my understanding, we've been going to for quite a number of years. It's where the students display their artwork that they've worked on all year, where our band gets to play, where our choir gets to perform, and where we get to, not only our kids showcase what they've done all year, but we showcase what the school has done. For some reason, it's not happening this year. My son is a senior, that's, his loss. So I'm really here for the kids for next year. You have juniors that put these things on their college applications. We had a sophomore last year that got honorable mention, probably would have done something a little more this year as a junior, and she's missing out. So I just think it's a shame. Thank you.
Tracy Sullivan, 180 Netalick Drive. I just had a question regarding the action item B29 that seems to be crossed out. I was just wondering what the status is of that and why it's crossed out on the draft of the agenda.
I need to have further discussion with the Board of Education before it becomes an action item. So it's tabled as of right now, pending further investigation and discussion.
And are you planning on discussing that again before the next school year starts, or are you waiting on it?
We'll be discussing it tonight in closed.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Haley Traverso, 596 Elm Avenue. I have two things, if I may. One I hope is a little more simpler than the other. Recently, we obviously heard that our graduation ceremony has been adjusted to a 5:30 time start, different than it has in the past. I'm kind of trying to figure out, a lot of us have been trying to figure out the last few days why this has come about when we've got caring, working parents here that can't get back in time for a 5:30 ceremony from work. We're not Franklin Lakes, we're not Mount Laurel, we're not a town that, not everybody can get an hour time off. They need to take an entire day for something that starts at 5:30 versus the 6 or 6:30 hour that it used to be. I myself have a problem getting a son here, and I am not going to have one son graduate without another son being here. It's not happening. There's just no, and I have to pick up that other son. It is what it is. That's me. The comments I've been hearing from, of course, social media, I know you don't like to talk about it, and the public on the outside, is how are people supposed to get there during rush hour? What are people doing if it's a 90-degree day outside? Because at 5 o'clock, it's still pretty hot. And I can go on. Is there a reason it was changed to 5:30? a legitimate reason, I should say.
We'll figure out that exactly what the answer for you is, and we'll tell you on.
If I may, just one other thing not related to that at all. I'm actually,
It is 5:30 that we're going to answer questions.
okay. The other thing totally unrelated. Actually, I'm here on behalf of many of your substitutes in this district. I've been doing this kind of in various districts at this point, is the salary. We have talked about our budget over the last couple of months here. We've talked about, the graduated minimum wage increase that's happening over the next 2 years. We've yet to talk about the substitute salary in the town of Saddlebrook. That $85 a day does not meet the $15 an hour at this time, and I know it's not required by law at this time. But I don't think you guys have a clue what the substitutes do in this district. I mean, I've just spent the last week and this continued week here in district. I won't mention where I am. And actually, one of my students is here, so I don't want to say much. But, and in addition to that, you have your paras making $1 less than your substitute. Your substitute paras are making $1 less per day than your substitute teachers, which I really wasn't aware of. I thought it was about a $12 or $15 difference. So that was just something. Is that going to be addressed anytime in the future?
I'm going to ask Mr. Ferretti to respond.
Okay.
We sent out proposals for substitute services. We're required to do so because it's been several years we've had source for teachers at ESS, and we already began discussing the hourly rates for substitutes, paras, and secretaries. So we'll probably have an action or a recommendation for the board, hopefully at the June meeting, for hourly rates for the, going forward.
And if I may suggest or ask first, actually, I don't know if you've heard of or if they've reached out to you or you've reached out to Swing Education, is a new substitute agency in the area, and they are taking care now of 1/3 of the Bergen County schools that use a substitute agency. I have now joined with them as well. They must have a much better deal in terms of contracts because they're paying us a lot more. You get bonuses, you get emergency calls, it's just an amazing system, the way it's turned out. So if you haven't yet, I would ask that you look into Swing Education.
I'm sorry, what was that name?
Swing Education. That's what it's
Swing.
called. They're based in California, but they've been here for about 3 years.
And just so you know, that is why we are required to go out every 2
Okay.
years, so that you can see what is out there, and then you can decide how you want to move forward.
And you probably know this. We are, us along with, I think, Rochelle Park, are the lowest paid district in the entire Bergen County area. Thank you.
Thank you.
Christine Pecoraro, 100 Nedlick Drive. Excuse me. There's a lot of rumors going around town about changes to the district programs and to the special ed program that currently is in Saddlebrook. So I'm just here to find out, if any, what changes are being made to the special ed program, such as resource rooms, PT, OT, if there's any changes being made to the LLD programs.
So in general, special education, in specific, special education programs are driven by the needs of the student, and they're driven by the IEP. So our programs will reflect the needs of the students. When you say what changes are being made, I don't really know
Okay.
what you're
Will there still be
asking.
resource rooms next year in the elementary schools?
Of course there will, because there will still be students who require resource services.
Okay. And
OTPT,
that will still
no change.
be in the fact?
No change.
And there's no changes to any the LLD classrooms, the self-contained classrooms?
Well, I can't say that there isn't a change to a classroom somewhere. If you have students who are this age and they're advancing to this age, and there isn't an LLD classroom here, then there's a change. I don't really know exactly what you're asking. We're not eliminating services, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, that's basically part of it, yes. So there's no elimination of resource rooms. They're not just going to have push-in teachers, the special ed teachers being pushed into the general ed classes?
So the law requires that we put students in the least restrictive environment as appropriate for the student and as driven by the IEP.
Correct, I'm aware of that. But I just wanted to make sure that if the student...
It's not different for us.
No, I just wanted to make sure that if the student's least restrictive environment is in a resource room, there still will be in all our elementary schools?
Yes.
A resource room.
Or we would be in violation of the IEP. If
Okay. No,
we-
oh, no, I'm
yes,
aware of
we will do that.
Okay, thank you.
Emily Scamatellis, 86 Bell. I didn't plan on speaking tonight, but after hearing what I just heard, if we are doing things to not be in violation of the, if we're doing something to not be in violation of the IEP, are we declassifying students that are meeting IEP requirements just to work with this new structure? Then I think that we might need to have a meeting, because I could show you proof where children were declassified while their standard deviation still meets and still has them eligible for an IEP, but they were declassified. Okay, thank you.
Good evening, Ms. Shanley, Saddlebrook Board of Education. My name is Kaylin Mahoney, and my address is 98 Jamrose Terrace, Saddlebrook, New Jersey. And I'm here to speak to you tonight to discuss the decision to restructure the TAG program in our district. I became a talented and gifted student in 4th grade, and this was also the year that Miss Augustine became the new teacher. I was in this extraordinary program until 8th grade when I graduated from it, and am still involved in the program and its projects. I have the courage to speak to you tonight about this issue in front of you, the Board of Education, the Superintendent, and other inspiring individuals present tonight because of the leadership and countless outgoing opportunities that I have gained from our TAG program. In preparing for this argument this afternoon, and after finding out this deeply troubling information, I thought that you should know that I was not told by anyone to speak to you, and I'm doing so out of my need for you to reconsider. According to the National Association for Gifted Children, a study was done on high-achieving and gifted students who were only in standard classrooms getting a general education. 75% of teachers reported that these talented and gifted students were not challenged and were never given the opportunity to thrive in their classrooms. In simpler terms, these students, the students who have a passion and desire to learn, were bored because they were stripped from the opportunities given in TAG programs like the one here at Saddlebrook. In another study done, out of 320 talented and gifted students who were brought up in TAG programs like ours, 63% of them went on to achieve advanced terminal degrees. For those of you like me who didn't know what that meant, that's a master's degree and above. With this information in mind, you can see that by running this program differently, you are jeopardizing the future success of your talented and gifted students. I would like to share with you one of the irreplaceable opportunities in our TAG program that Miss Augustine diligently guided us through. One of our greatest events in TAG is Marsbrook. In this project, TAG students of 4th, 5th, and 6th graders from elementary schools Franklin, Long, and Smith must work together in order to successfully build a community on planet Mars. With the help of 7th grade mentors, 8th grade supervisors, and high school program advisors, students not only learn the science behind planning a trip to Mars, but are given leadership and teamwork opportunities that simply cannot be given in any other program. Think about it. What other program combines elementary school, middle, and high school students to work collectively and truly strive to learn? Finally, this program would not be the same without the passionate work of Miss Augustine. She is this program. She goes above and beyond to ensure the success of her TAG students. In her class, we are not only educated on leadership and outside-of-the-box thinking, but she takes the time to talk to us about opportunities after high school, like college, and how to go about a job interview, what we can do now to boost our success, and other valuable life skills. This sort of thing just isn't common in other classrooms and can be truly life-changing. In closing, I would like to ask that you think carefully about how you go about this decision, and if you make the wrong decision, you are potentially risking the future of those students who have the want and desire to learn and be challenged. I know that you have probably made up your mind and probably won't reconsider, but you should know that you may let down your students. Think outside of the box. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to comment tonight?
Jennifer Ween, 400 B Saddle River Road. I just kind of want to piggyback on what Kaylin had to say. I know you can't talk about staffing. I know that we can't talk about people. And I didn't even think after emailing back and forth with you, Mrs. Shanley, that there was potential that the teacher might be changing. But after school today, I heard through the grapevine that we may be changing around staffing with the new restructuring of the TAG program. Miss Augustine has been our saving grace for my younger daughter. My younger daughter has an issue with anxiety and a perfectionist tendency, and a teacher like her who knows how to work with gifted children and to push them through and teach them how to persevere and work through the tears is a gem. And I really, really think it would be detrimental to the TAG program if you decided to take her away from it. So please reconsider if that is indeed accurate.
Thank you.
Good evening. Susan Syme, 121 Rochelle Parkway. I have two questions. First, I noticed on Facebook that, it's the only way I get information, that the Italian program is being dropped in the elementary school. Is that true? Yes. Okay, as from Unico, I'm asking this from a Unico standpoint. The high school is going to be part-time position?
Because we don't have enough sections
Right.
for full-time.
So, just so I could bring it back to my organization, the feeder program from elementary will not exist any longer.
No, we'll have Spanish at the elementary
Okay,
school.
I needed to verify that because, as you know, Facebook is not always correct. And just to piggyback on the special ed program, so you're saying that all LLD classes, resource room, OT, PT, speech, that exists now in Smith, Long, and Franklin will be there if the need is there for any child?
If the need is there for the children.
Okay.
It's IEP driven.
Right, if it's in their IEP, that has to be there.
Yeah.
So no IEPs will be changed unless it goes through the parent or whatever. However it goes.
IEPs normally change, yes.
Yes, okay. So you're saying this will be there as it is, so nobody should get all excited? No, you're not saying that.
No, I don't think there's anything to get excited about because we will meet the needs of the children based on their...
Well, that's not the question I asked, though.
Well, you're asking me, will everything be exactly the same?
And the answer is no.
No, because the children aren't necessarily the same. The children's needs may change. They may
Okay.
become...
But if the children's needs are the same, this will all be in place.
We will meet the needs of the children.
This will be in place. What you have now.
Say something.
No, well, I don't even, LLD classes, resource rooms, OTPT, they will be there for the children.
I don't know where this is coming from. Yes, they will be there for the children
Okay.
as per their IEPs.
Okay, that's all I wanted to just verify that I heard that. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Julia Bellini. I'm a speech therapist at Helen Smith School, and this is Lauren Rogers. She's up here. She's the other speech therapist from Smith School. And we just wanted to voice our concerns about what's happening with the speech language pathologists at Smith School, because right now...
I'm sorry, can you please try and speak a little louder? I'm barely hearing you.
Sorry, I'm
Sorry.
nervous.
Thank you. That's much better. Thank you.
Right now, Lauren has kids back to back. Her biggest group is 5 children. And that's for, trying to fit in language therapy. You're talking about concepts that are hard to get a hold of. And I see a lot of children on the autism spectrum, a lot of whom you can't really group with. A lot of the kids that I work with need individual attention. I'm trying to teach them how to use an iPad to speak, or I'm trying to help them with issues that, where they can't sit still. They need to learn how to sit, and I can't deal with a lot of kids. They're like octopuses. I can't deal with, you can't put them in a group and serve them properly. And I'm concerned that my job, I was rifted. I was told that I would be let go. And I sincerely, this is not coming from resentment or bitterness, to be quite frank. I have another job lined up. But I'm worried about these kids. I really am. And especially the children on the autism spectrum. I don't think we're going to be able to serve them properly, because as far as I know, there's only going to be one speech therapist at Smith School now who's going to handle all the articulation kids, all the language kids, and all the kids on the spectrum. Is that what's going to happen?
So here, can I just say this? It's very, very difficult for us to answer specific questions about IEP-driven programs. Those are individualized to each child. It's impossible for you to know what the needs of the district are in terms of an IEP, because you don't see every single IEP. You shouldn't be seeing every single IEP. Maybe we should talk about that, okay? And you don't know who's coming in, you don't know who's going out. I understand what you're saying, but I don't want everybody to think that on the basis of what your knowledge is, which is not necessarily the knowledge of every classified student in the district, or what their needs are. I hear your concern, the board hears your concern, I'll make sure and talk about it a little bit more.
But we do know the needs of the students at our school.
Yes,
and we're the ones that are not in control of it, but we are the ones that are building our schedules. We're seeing what they need, and we're building their goals. So yes, we don't know the needs of the district-wide, but we do know that our school, the kids have a lot of needs.
Okay, absolutely. No, but you are the professionals. You're the ones who decide whether they have group or individual. Absolutely, no, 100%. What I'm trying to say is, though, you know your schools, you don't necessarily know the district. So as we're building that program, and we do it this summer with Dr. Eisenhower, if it looks like we have more speech needs, then obviously we'll fill that. We have to. I promise you, I will make sure that we fill that, right? That will not be a problem. If the kids need it, if you tell us as speech pathologists that they need it, we're going to give it to them, okay?
That's what we're doing. We just want to make sure that you are aware of the situation, because you can't, there's a lot of kids that you can't group, and when you put kids in a group of 5, the help that they're getting is a lot less than they would get in a group of even 3. So, thank you.
Absolutely.
Hello. Trying to see if I can figure this out. My name is Lacey Trongone, 186 Colonial Ave. Sorry, I don't want to speak to you. First of all, I think that I would like to express some concern to the response to those teachers, what they just got. You had 2 teachers, specialists standing up here saying our needs aren't being met. And basically the first response was, you shouldn't be seeing this. You don't really, at least that's how it came across.
Right, I don't want to interrupt.
Sure.
That's not what I meant. What I meant was, they only see their students within their building.
But that's exactly what they were saying, was that in their classroom.
They were saying that they felt that, and then maybe I was wrong, but they were saying that they felt that by letting go of speech therapists across the district.
No, she was talking about her classroom.
Feeling that need.
She's talking about her classroom. She's sitting there saying that in her classroom, it's specifically that there's too many kids. So I
misunderstood that.
Sure.
I'll talk to you after. Okay? We'll handle that.
Sure. And I think that also goes really in line with what I originally wanted to say, is that as a parent, this is my first year with my son in the public schools. I went to Saddlebrook Public Schools for 9 years. I can say that I saw maybe 2 to 3 staff changes total. And I feel like this year, we're hearing and seeing a high turnover for staff. It's really concerning, and I feel like I've spoken to other parents that share these same concerns, that this high turnover is not the best thing for our kids. When we have constant staff changes, whether it's just administrative or not, teachers that our kids have grown to know. My son is very nervous, so when he sees and starts to connect with teachers, whether he's going to have them next year, obviously he's not going to have the same teachers next year, but those are familiar faces that he will be able to connect with. So whether it's the first day of school, the first week of school, the entire year of school, that would be a comfort for him to see and to know or to hear. Hopefully these are false rumors, that a lot of teachers are going to be let go. It's really concerning, and it makes me concerned about the direction that the school district is going in.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Laura Kasbar. First, I want to say thank you to Mrs. Shanley for responding so quickly to all my emails. I'm a first-time mom with a kid in kindergarten, so it's very overwhelming what you hear on social media. My daughter had a teacher change unexpectedly because her teacher got very ill, so she's had some substitutes, and they've all stepped up, and I know it's not in great conditions, but from what I hear from her, and I have to take it from her, they've all done a great job. But for the teachers that, I'm being told that the teachers are leaving and shifting and transferring to other schools, and teachers will be moving, and I wonder if this is going to affect like it's been said, how this will affect our kids and what the ratio now of kids to students will be, or to teachers will be, because I want to be sure that my kid is getting everything she needs. I mean, I'm just worried, also, like it's been said, about having teachers come and go when they are comfortable with them. I understand that's life, and people come and go, and our kids learn that, but when they're in kindergarten, first grade, second grade, it's concerning to me. So, that's the first question I have. I don't know if that's answered now, or if, how it's going to change the ratio of students to teachers. I mean, right now, her classroom is 1 to, I think, 23 or 24 kids. And I wanted to know how that's going to change the ratio.
We currently have 2 sections per grade in all 3 elementary schools, and we have 2 sections per grade in all 3 elementary schools next year, so I don't know.
So are teachers going to be taken out of her Franklin? I mean, she goes to Franklin, and our teachers going to be taken out of that school to go to another school that she's...
Our district faculty are our district faculty, so we will deploy resources where we need them, and if teachers are needed in one place or another, then we'll use them where we need them. But that, you asked about ratio, so there's no...
Yeah, okay, I have another question, again, about art, and that's what I discussed with you in the email. I understand art's going to be cut to once a week, and I understand media technology will take its place. My daughter tells me computer class is sitting in the classroom playing games on the computer. She can do that at home. She can do that anywhere else, and I feel like art, unless they're teaching typing or navigating or something more than just playing games on the computer, I feel like art is a much more important skill, and I think she's teaching fine motor skills. I think it's teaching creativity. It's giving her a moment to breathe and relax out of the classroom, to get her creative side out, and to lose that, to have her sit in front of a computer and play games, doesn't make much sense to me. So what will this second media technology class offer?
So what library media is supposed to offer is a combination of a love of reading, circulation of books, understanding of how the library is laid out, and the media portion should be a 21st century a skills course, essentially, where students are learning exactly what you said they should be learning, which is keyboarding, the Microsoft Office suite, how to use Google Classroom. You know, students have to be able to produce writing in a timed period on standardized assessments, for example. But more importantly, what a lot of students do is this, and that is not media proficiency, and that is not what we are advocating. We're talking about the actual 21st century learning skills that are, and the technology standards that are in the New Jersey learning standards, which I do believe could use some help.
Okay. One quick final question, if I can. With Italian being taken out of the curriculum, is there going to be a language
Spanish.
class twice a week or once a week?
Different grades will have different levels of Spanish because we have to worry about proficiency. So once we get all of that laid out, then I can share with you an exact schedule. Not every grade will be treated the same.
It'd only be nice that, because I know Italian was like very sporadic, so it'd be nice if it was...
20 minutes, in some cases,
I understand.
20 minutes every other week.
Right, so it'd be nice if Spanish was at least once a week.
It should be at a minimum one solid instructional period.
Okay, great, thank you.
And thank you for emailing me.
Donna Ferraro, my home address, 34 Roosevelt Street in Nutley. My daytime address is 30 Cambridge Avenue. Respectfully, I am here to discuss the personnel cuts for next year. Many of you, or some of you on the board, are educators yourself. You know how personnel cuts will impact the programs, the working load on the teaching staff, and the morale of the staff has already been affected. These educators who are being let go for budget cuts have families and bills. They have worked tirelessly to maintain the curriculum in their classrooms. They have been asked to resign or to take a non-renewal. And if you see these resignations that they handed in this morning, please keep in mind that they were only told on Thursday or Friday that they either had to resign under duress or they had to accept the non-renewal. I have been married for 40 years, and for many of those years, I have written a budget on paper and said to my husband, wow, we're gonna save, we're gonna go on a big vacation, we're gonna buy a large item. And well, as many of you know, what looks great on paper never works out. So you are going to be asking the educators to do more with less. And the worst part is that for years, we always had a little saying here in Saddlebrook, welcome to Saddlebrook. But the new slogan is going to be, don't go to Saddlebrook. In the long run, you will not get the qualified educators. You will not get the qualified educators to come and work here. In the long run, the district will lose its reputation. In the long run, the value of the taxpayers' homes will be affected. I have always been an advocate for the students, and those of you who know me know I have always been an advocate for the students. This will affect and have an impact on our programs, which in turn will have an impact on our students. I am also here tonight to advocate for some of the best colleagues I have ever worked with, and they are losing their jobs. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nicole Bibber, 73 North West Wing. My question is that you had stated that you're not cutting the programs of the special education, but it does seem like you're cutting the staff. So how are you not cutting programs if you're cutting all the staff that does the programs?
My other question is, and I'm really sorry, is you say if you have a question to come to a meeting to ask, but it seems like you can't answer a lot of questions that are asked.
I answer everything I can. I cannot answer any questions specifically about
I'm not asking specific individuals. I'm asking about a program.
You're asking me about personnel. I can't.
I'm asking about how are you not cutting a program when you're cutting the staffs of the program? Are you hiring new staff? I'm not asking of a specific individual.
Just to be clear again, programs in special education are provided to students pursuant to their IEPs. Can you all hear me? I'm sorry. No? Now you can? Okay. Programs in special education are provided to students pursuant to their IEPs, which are created by their IEP teams, right?
Correct.
So we can't sit here and tell you for sure what every program will exist in the future because we don't know what the students' needs are going to be until the IEP team meets.
Okay, but by now, this time of year,
Until the IEP team meets and the IEP team decides what needs that student has and how we can meet them in the district. That is how programs are determined in special education.
Okay, so by now, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
By now, a lot of the IEPs have already been drawn up for next year.
Sure.
So we know what the need is at this point.
And those IEPs, the ones that are already drafted for the following school year, those needs will all be met.
Okay, so we will have resource, we will have LLD, we will have speech, we will have OT, because that's in my daughter's IEP. So
if it's in their IEP, it will be there.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Wow. That's an answer, right? Like people who've been asking for IEPs for 6 months and don't get an answer, right? No, I don't want to talk to you.
I'm back. Hi. I sat up there for 9 years, so I know what they're saying, I know what they're doing, it's not easy. However, I do not like the superintendent's answer to Mrs. Bibber. She did not ask about personnel. I understand what personnel is. She asked about how is the program going to be serviced if personnel is let go. She didn't ask who they are. We don't care who they are. When you become a teacher, you know you work for the district. You were 100% right when you said that. You go where you're told to go. You're thankful you have a job at times. However, the question was simply, if you're cutting staff, how are you going to meet their needs?
So let me clarify my answer.
Okay.
So she asked, you're getting rid of these people. Are you hiring new people to fill their spots or something like that? I can't answer that question.
Why not? It's not a personnel question.
Essentially, it is a personnel question.
Go ahead.
So the positions will be there to serve the children. The positions will be there to serve the children. People will be in place.
We will have to agree to disagree.
People will be in place to serve the children.
Okay, so you will be hiring then. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Susan Winter. I'm the case manager. Been here for 13 years. I write IEPs. I will tell you, and granted, some of you were not here last year, but come September, we were asked to change IEPs. Yes, there's a team, supposedly, but when a school doesn't offer a program, the team is told, well, you have to fit the child to the building. That's how things have worked here. And I'm sorry, but when we change, thank you. When we change programs to meet staff's needs or new directors' needs or new...
Okay. All right, stop. Because now you are talking about personnel. No. Stop. I want us to have a conversation. I was not aware of any of this.
I would love to have a conversation.
Yes, absolutely.
I think the child studies team should be part of all conversations.
And just so you're aware, I can tell you, I'm going to be doing a legal audit of the special education files. I'm going to be talking to the board. I'm going to be doing training with all the CST. I'm going to be looking at every single one to ensure that they meet legal compliance. I want to hear what you have to say. The board wants to hear what you have to say. But right now, you've already identified a person, I can't let you keep talking about her in public.
I'm not talking about a person.
Well,
I'm
you
talking about programs that we've had to make work. When programs we had identified that were needed were not put through, and then we've had to take those children and make it work in the programs that we had planned. And we have all done that, and I work primarily at Franklin School, but I do social histories, and I do crisis intervention. I've worked with a lot of people here's children. My name is pretty well known. I hold a master's degree from Columbia, and I'm a graduate of Bronx High School of Science. So I come to you with some pedigree. I'm not just talking out of my you-know-what. And I would tell you that I think you need to listen to some of these parents. They know their kids. They also know this town. And I don't live here, but I have been struck time and time again by the way this town comes together on behalf of its families, on behalf of a family suffering, on behalf of a family in need. And I think right now many people at the elementary school level are suffering because they hear that favorite teachers are going to be moved. And that's a very, very difficult and hard thing to understand. It's like if you have a car that's not running and you take the fan belt out of a car that's running great and you think you're going to fix the car that's not running so well. It doesn't seem to make any sense. Why would we move people around when where they are at is working and where they are at is thriving? And I really find it hard to understand that. I understand that there are some issues that have to be solved educationally, that maybe there are some personnel holes that have to get figured out. Again, that's not your fault. That's the fault of whoever preceded all of you and let people get. I'm not going to go there. But anyway, yes, there are lemons, and lemons need to get sorted out. But you don't get rid of lemons by breaking something that's working. That's all I have to say. I just really hope you take this seriously.
Hi, Scott Santoro, 585 Pine Avenue. I come as an educator, 25 years, master's plus 30. I've taught in Bergen County, taught in Passaic County. I've coached a lot of kids in this district. Most people know me from running around out on a field, all right, with kids, but I'm a history teacher, and I drive curriculum every day in my classroom. I drive it with 21st century teaching techniques as well as old school chalk and talk, okay? I think that the idea of trimming down the fringe, the art, the music, once a week, to twice a week to once a week, what are we going to write about? You take away the art, you take away the music. What do you write about? But if you trim it back, to once a week, what do you write about with these computers in your libraries? What do you write about? Curriculum is driven through a well-rounded education. Park, and now the NJSLA, forces children to be well-rounded, especially in the language arts aspect. And I did teach LAL for 12 years. So I dealt with, I go back to EWT, I'm old. So I hope that we're keeping it in mind that it's a well-rounded education that helps kids pass standardized tests. Of course. All right? That it's keeping kids in viable music, art, athletics, clubs, tag. I have 3 daughters at home. They've been in the tag program. They're in athletic programs. They've been in the band. They've been in the choir. They've been in Corliers. Okay? The district has offered that to them. Don't take it away. Don't start taking it away at the elementary level and think you're going to give it back to them later, because you're not going to get the enrollment. Okay? Also, I know we're going around and around and around about special ed. I just hope at the end of the day, we're not going to increase class sizes in order to make sure that we give the services, but now we're giving the services 1-on-5 or 1-on-6 instead of 1-on-1, 1-on-2. Because that would be detrimental to everybody. The teachers who have to be accountable for those children, as well as the children themselves. Thank you.
Thank you.
Michelle DeSalvo, 47 Cambridge Ave. I'm sorry, I really am not good at speaking in group in front of an audience, so I apologize. I'm just listening to what everyone had to say, and I'm here because I heard about a lot of the cuts and everything, and I want to know, so we're making all these cuts, budget-wise, where's the money going? Where do we need to put the money? If we need to cut these teachers, we need to cut the aftercare, before care programs, everything, where's the need? Where does the money have to go?
You want me to start?
Isn't it for our kids?
It is. Some of the challenge comes in the exorbitant cost of special education, in particular students who are in out-of-district placement. Let me just give you an example, okay? I came in July. By September 1st, we had incurred an additional $500,000 worth of special education services for students who had come in from out-of-district who had very advanced needs. We are obligated to serve those students, of course. So you wind up dipping into surplus, for example. This year, in particular, we had, I believe, almost $800,000 more costs in special education services. That's only one part. The other part is the underfunded funding formula that we deal with the state of New Jersey. Last week, we presented at the budget meeting so that you could see how the money is being spent. And so what happens is then you have to find a way to pay for those costs. The money doesn't follow the child. There is legislation right now in the state of New Jersey where they are trying to get it so that the cost or the money does follow the child and that the state supports us better. Here's another thing. So the state will accept that 15% of students in any given population are eligible for funding for special services. And if you have any students who are classified above them, for example, then that cost is borne by the district. The state will not help you with that. This is not a target. I'm not targeting special education children. All I'm saying is that they have more expensive needs. But this is not our problem. This is a problem that many districts are facing across the state of New Jersey, and it's something that we are advocating for frequently. I have been to Trenton. I have been to county meetings. I spoke at a Bergen County meeting with legislators last month about this and about other things that are unfunded mandates. I will give you another example. As of next year, we have to provide personal financial literacy instruction to the middle school students. There is no money for curriculum writing, there is no money for professional development, and there's no money for supplies, but we have to provide it. As we move forward, there's been a new recess mandate, which is fantastic. Everybody wants to serve children with special needs. We want to serve students so that they learn about personal financial literacy, and we want our students engaged in recess. But they didn't account for where that time would come from. All right, when it comes to world language, it's not only that you provide world language, but that at the end of a certain amount of time that the child is immersed in world language, that you can demonstrate a level of world language proficiency. But they didn't tell us, how do we then hire people to give the students enough world language so that that could happen? So time after time after time, there are unfunded mandates imposed upon us. I'll give you another example. Last year, we are now required, any student who doesn't pass the Algebra 1, new NJSLA, formerly known as PARCC assessment, needs to sit in a remedial algebra course. Okay? So that's on top of the courses that we already offer. We had 87 students who needed to sit in a remedial algebra course. That's 4 more teaching periods that we hadn't budgeted for, that we needed to find the money for. if you had, and you don't look familiar to me.
That's okay.
So that must mean that you don't come a lot, and I know you're not.
I do come.
You're not comfortable
I
speaking.
do, no,
but
I
that's
do
okay.
come often.
When we have the auditors come and present our financial situation, when we do budget presentations and we explain to people that we are trying to do everything that we need to do, and not cut programs for children and be able to provide more with less, it's a constant struggle. I have unapologetically, but sometimes embarrassingly, gone to the foundation, begged them for money to help us provide programs, and they did this year. They helped us launch a phonics program that we did not have the funding for, but that we needed to do. Professional development, things that we have to provide, and there's no funding for it. So every year, there's another something that they give us.
Right, and there's going to continuously be more things.
And we never want to do things.
We can't keep on cutting things from our children.
I
And
agree.
I agree.
But
That's
we're not
why we're having a hard
cutting
time with this.
So going from, for example, art from twice a day to once a day, here, you have to understand something, that there are districts, and I would never support this, but there are districts, you are not required to have an art teacher at the elementary, because an elementary teacher can teach anything. They're certified to teach anything, as long as they're not doing it for more than half of their day.
Right.
We have maintained art, music lessons. We are adding a period of health, which we did not truly have before. There are things that we're really trying to do for the children with the money that we have. And so that's where the money goes.
And you're saying with special education, we have so many different needs and people coming out of districts.
Children have so many needs.
I have a child, 2 children with special needs that are in the program. And if it wasn't for the teachers, I wouldn't know where they would be today.
And
my problem is with that
And I
is the
agree with
cuts,
you,
the cuts with
100%.
it. And you're saying there's more kids coming in, and that speaks volumes.
Sometimes.
We need those teachers, and you're cutting very good teachers too. One, that I very personally to my heart, who helped me with my daughter who couldn't read at the beginning of the year, and went to her, and with the help of her general ed teacher and her special ed teacher, they helped her. And you're cutting this resource room teacher who is just did volumes of work with her and just did not give up on her. She's 2 weeks away from her tenureship. 2 weeks. And you gave her her pink slip today. 2 weeks.
We can't talk about the people.
I'm not speaking her name. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying from what I heard through the grapevine. And I don't know how you sleep all that night with that. She's an amazing teacher. It's not like she was terrible. She didn't come to work. She didn't do what she needed to do. She did what she needed to do.
We can't talk about
and
people.
There's so many more, though, and I don't know them all.
Some very, please
Right.
understand.
And I understand, but then
very
there's the
difficult
tenured ones that
had to
who
be
get
made.
overlooked. And at my job, I've been there only a year or two. And I would get fired just as much as the tenured person would, if I did something wrong. Listen, I know that's a teacher thing, and it's a very touchy thing. I have 2 teachers in my family, and it's always like a big hot topic. I make fun of them all the time, but I just think it should be looked at. Have you guys ever gone into the school? Do you know this teacher that I'm talking about? Have you seen her teach? Have you seen her teach? No, you haven't.
I can't speak to you about it.
Exactly, you
personally.
can't, but you don't know, and I know you don't know. Just like you don't know me, you don't know my face. I've been out there. I've heard you and I've seen you talk. I really don't, I want to know how you care about the kids. And I want to see it, and I want to feel it first. I want to know. Show us. Show us how you care. All of you. Because I've seen it. Honestly, show us how you care by helping us keep the programs that we need and the teachers that we need. Do a good job by it. For us, for the kids, we need your help. We can't do it, but we're here trying to do it.
Juan Luciano, 13 Young Rose Terrace. Wow, this is scary.
I moved from New York to Brook 5 years ago, and I found out last year my daughter needed special aid. I came today because my daughter told me something's wrong with the teacher, that they're gonna fire her. That's sad. I don't want to be in your position, this too, because you guys, and I understand you got a job to do. I can truly understand that. But how are you going to be able to go to sleep with all this question that you cannot answer? Like, how are you going to provide help to a kid, 8 years old, my daughter, that she learned how to read, she learned how to communicate with people and have a conversation with another 8 years old in 1 year because her teacher, and now you're taking it away. You don't have an answer for that, I know that. You're going to say now, I can answer. But how are you going to be able to go to sleep tonight with all this question? How are you going to process that? Right? You don't have an answer.
Well, I think I've answered that. Nobody said that this was easy. Nobody said that this is, the good part of the job. This is the hard stuff. These are very difficult decisions that have to be made. Nobody makes any of these decisions lightly.
What I can understand about language are a lot of other programs that, yeah, we can take it away. But we're talking about kids, 6, 7 years old. They don't know. My daughter, she's playing right now. She don't know what's going on over here. And I bet you anything, if I bring my daughter over here, she's going to be crying.
Well,
just listen to all this drama. This is drama for me. I'm coming from New York. We don't get to use this. So this is a privilege. This right now, me talking to you, is a privilege. We don't do this in New York. New York is what it is. So I moved here to give my daughter a better life. And now you getting this back to me? Like, it's insane. Like, I feel like I work in New York. I got to travel every day. I get up 4:30 in the morning, travel to New York every day to support my family. I feel like go back to New York and leave my kids in New York public school, which is worse than this. But that's where we're heading now. Like, we're heading over there. That's where we're heading. Those schools that I took my daughter from. And you guys telling me that's where we're heading now? No. So in 5 years from now, that's what we're going to have. No. Do better than that. This is better. Taxes is higher than New York. So we got to do better than this. Because you say we got people moving from other town, that's why they're moving, because they want better life for their kids. All right? That's why we're moving.
That's what we're working to do.
Thank you.
I'm Sarah Milnicki, 102 Claremont Ave. First, I just want to wish a happy Teacher Appreciation Week to our staff. And I also would like to wish a happy National Speech and Hearing Month to our speech therapists.
It's also Nurses Week.
It is Nurses Week. My mother and sister are nurses, so shout out to them. They're home playing cards. That's all.
That was good.
I'm not a nurse. So I have like 9,000 notes, I'm sorry. My son's speech needs are not being met right now, so I don't understand how you're gonna cut someone. I understand you can't discuss people, but you can certainly discuss a position. So, and you really should have riced them. I know that was the issue last week. I don't know why people weren't riced, but besides the point. My son's speech needs are not being met. He has an IEP, his speech needs are not being met, so I don't understand how you're gonna be cutting that. Okay? I've tried to have them fixed. I'm hoping when I have the IEP meeting that we'll have that fixed. Okay. What?
Well, we just wanted to clarify that ricing doesn't mean that we are free to talk about them.
I know, but you keep saying you won't answer anything because you can't discuss a position.
I can't discuss personnel.
Okay, well,
even if they're riced, we can't. That right belongs to the employee. I just
they're not employees anymore. They got ripped.
No, they're still employees.
Okay.
They are.
So my point is, I can't imagine, I have worked in several school districts in Bergen County, from low income, I was in Hudson County, I was up in Upper Bergen County, and I've never seen 30 or so kids discharged from speech that would justify cutting a speech therapist. I work in a district where all of a sudden a lot of money disappeared and we were forced to cut a speech therapist, and the groups are insane, and I don't want to see that happen here. You have a lot of kids on the spectrum and they are all different. You meet one autistic child, you've met one autistic child, and it's just, I can't imagine. Speech is so important. When you have these large groups, you can't address all the needs. I know what they're talking about with the IEP, with the iPads. You need a lot of one-on-one time to teach with these Go Talk programs and all stuff like that, and there's 7 sessions a day, typically in a half hour. If you go on the half hour, I guarantee it, they're not taking their prep, they're working on their lunch and everything, and I just think, it's just blowing my mind that because of budget reasons, you have to cut a speech therapist, but then in the agenda, it says you're appointing someone director of curriculum, so there's money for that, you know? And then I know there was also talk about getting a supervisor for special education. I know that's provided on the budget for November. So I'm just very upset with that. I just fear my child's still not going to get the therapy he needs. He didn't get speech for the first 6 weeks of school because there was a conflict and not enough speech.
Privately, can I have a talk with you before when we end, before you leave? Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. And then I just also wanted to say that with the art, I'm also upset if you're going to cut one session of art. I feel kids are getting so much technology at home with their parents and everywhere in life. They're doing a lot of technology in the classroom. I know teachers use Go Noodle and all those fabulous websites. And art, it's just different. There's no technology involved, and they're just using their hands. And you know, fine motor is so important. OTs are, I guarantee your OTs here are overloaded. And you know, maybe that'll keep some kids from needing OT. And I just feel there's got to be some better ways you can go about that. Like, I understand everything's going to computers, but we still need to have art. We still need that hands-on and all that stuff. And I think that was it, so thank you.
Thank you. Okay, seeing no one else coming up, a motion to close open comment?
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Can I have a motion to go into closed session?
So moved.
You
want to make a statement?
Okay. Sorry about that. Just quickly, one thing I want everybody in this room to understand is these decisions weren't made in a vacuum. The entire administration worked incredibly hard over many, many, many hours and many weeks to figure out how to make everything work. So this is not a vacuum. This is not just one decision that the superintendent made in a complete void. The entire administration was involved in trying to make this the best that we could. And no one likes to be in this position or wants to make these decisions. Unfortunately, difficult decisions needed to be made for both the financial and educational needs of the district. The board fully supports this administration and the decisions and their desire to move the education of our students forward.
Excuse me, Mr. Quinn, you're speaking for yourself, not the board, right?
Well, the whole board has approved this, Mike, but you probably weren't at the meeting.
Don't be snippy. Don't be snippy, because I agree with all these people about the special ed.
It was passed with the budget.
My kid took 8 months to get a 5. No, because this is aggravating. How come we have to keep our mouths shut all the time?
Well, I guess maybe not all the board.
We have to talk.
Okay, just go close.
All in favor of going to close? All right. We are now in closed.